What is the one misconception that you feel exists about venture capital in India?
I think the venture capital business model globally today is very American.
Right.
Right? It was born in the 80s. And I think Sequoia is a firm I respect so much, Sequoia US, because they were the pioneers of this model. For 30 years, they've built $1 trillion, multiple $1 trillion of internet market cap. They built the internet. And I think that's what the power of venture capital done right.
Right.
You can bring an entire S-curve of technology,
Right.
and then mini S-curves and everything that comes out second and third order. And you can build a legacy that spans multiple decades. But I think in India, there aren't too many VC firms or LPs, both sides of the capital, were allowed to think in decades. When I left college looking at venture capital as a business in India, the term for a VC fund was 5+1. It means you had to return money in 6 years. Today, in like 6 years, companies aren't even able to get past 10 million in revenue. You can't have fund returners.
Yeah.
The best case is a 10 million revenue company, right? So I think the reason we weren't giving time to VCs is because the LPs didn't trust them to manage money for that long. And why didn't they trust them? Because the American model of 220 was causing all kinds of principal agent problems. I'll distill this down to explain a few things that should make sense to anyone, even if they don't know venture capital. If I come to you as a VC and say, sir, you give me 100 rupees.
Yeah.
In 10 years, I'll give you 400 rupees. First of all, you have to worry, will this guy be around in 10 years? Secondly, can you trust me with your money for 10 years? Right? So all kind of questions on the term. Say, okay, we get past that and you're okay with 10 years. 100 becoming 400, 4x in 10 years, right? Is useful. It's good, decent. It's around 18, 20% IRR. But the Indian public markets today, if you just bought small cap last 5 years, it's gone up insane, like 400%, right? You're getting that in 3 or 4 years. So in India, the beta you're competing with is really high today. So in 10 years, as an LP, you're wondering, okay, you know what, actually, I can just buy these mutual funds or the sector funds and I can actually make more money. Or I can make the same money in shorter time.
Yeah.
Right? And there's some risk, obviously, holding anything for too long. The 10-year thing is very American. And it genuinely takes more than 10 years to build a company to go IPO. Like, you can't push certain things. And therefore, the 10-year term is now, thankfully, becoming something we can do in India. But 10 years was a fight. It took 15 years. Okay, that's something you need to know. So I'm glossing past it, but it took a long time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to explain. So say you give me 100 rupees, 400 rupees is the promise in 10 years. Now, what are my commercials? I will say I'm this consultant, I'm that guy, MBA from Harvard, whatever, right? A lot of them will say that, and their decks are very team focused, a VC deck. So you're paying me 220. What does that mean? Out of the 100 rupees, you're paying me 2 rupees every year for 10 years.
Yeah.
So 20 rupees is gone just paying for my first class tickets and my Oberoi first class suite when I travel and whatever, which is a big problem if you think about capital compounding. Because you gave me 100 to give you 400. But if I eat 20, I'm investing only 80. Divide 400 by 80, I actually have to give you 5x.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, 5x suddenly from 4 to 5x, it becomes a problem. That means I need bigger outcomes. That means I need my companies to grow faster. That means they have to spend more money to grow faster. That means I need to get them more money after me to grow faster. That means I need to make sure I'm not taking these, licious type risks. I'm investing in things that other people will invest in because everyone has consensus.
Interesting. Yeah.
Therefore, I need to know other people in other VCs. All of us are now consultants. Okay, I guess we're actually going to craft the culture narrative of this whole industry. MBB, all of us come from the same colleges. All of us are from the same consulting companies. But there's a monoculture that's built up in Indian venture capital because of this fundamental problem. Right? Where it's really, really difficult to compound money that aggressive.
And you still not calculated the 20% return.
I'm coming to that, right?
Yeah.
So right at the level 2, or level 3, sorry. Yeah, we're running into our first big challenge.
Yeah.
Now, fourth problem is if it actually works, right? The whole reason why you pay 20% of the profits to carry as an investor to the VC is it was hard to get that much profit in the first place.
Yeah.
So if you make it, it's worth it. Of course, you should take a piece of it, right? You made me money, you should
Yeah.
take money as well. But you get 2 and you take 20. Where's your given this? You have a great life for 10 years, and if it works out, you get more money. If it didn't work out, are you giving the 20 back? No. So either way, you have a great life for 10 years, right? And this is where the fundamental problem came in India. Most Indian LPs, big institutions, pensions, banks, whoever, right, family offices, they looked at these guys and said, you're not worth 2% a year. Right?
But isn't the AIF policy going to govern skin in the game?
No. So, yeah, so there's a minimum contribution you have to make, and yeah, all that is fine, right? That's okay. You need money to start a VC firm. Let's be very honest. It is very difficult. But the 220 is not gone away yet.
Yeah.
In fact, I must tell you, and globally it's become 2.525, right, for the big global firms. So it's only going up, not down.
Yeah.
Now, look at the largest asset managers in the game, the fund managers, if you will, not asset fund managers, hedge funds, right? No, they don't work on 220, by the way. Right?
Yeah.
All of them are required to put in a necessary contribution every year,
Yeah.
and they are paid from Jan to December. So you have to be able to liquidate and give the LPs the money back. 10 years is very difficult negotiating a hedge fund. Hedge fund has more options. He can do buy currency, he can do that, he can swap, he can change his mind in an hour and reverse his position.
Yeah.
So the hedge fund is the ultimate flexibility of chasing IRR. Right? But we see you have to hold for 10 years, hope and pray you made the right decisions, hope and pray the founders don't fight, hope and pray divorce doesn't take away half the company. There are so many things that you worry about over a 10-year period. There's going to be a recession, there's going to be a war, there's going to be now maybe a pandemic every 10 years. There are so many things that go wrong in 10 years. If you still make it, yes, the 20%, there's logic there. The 2% is why a lot of people have a fundamental problem with venture capital in the LP side, right? But it's still a large industry. It's still trillions of dollars in assets. It still created massive outcomes, right?
Yeah.
And invariably, tech has become more and more important today. And therefore, the guys who are investing in tech, the people who can fight their way of doing things are fewer and fewer every year.
Yeah.
Right? So this thing avalanches because it worked.